The ones who have learning difficulty and learning disability, there's nothing wrong with the IQ. Yeah. So intelligence is there. They are intelligent. The level of IQ is good. Like it's normal. It's above normal.
Hello and welcome to Career Talks with Mentoria. My name is Nikhar Arora and I'm one of the founders and CEO of Mentoria. Our passion is to help you discover yours, and through these podcasts, through these webinars, through these talk shows, we want to give you a very deep and realistic understanding of the career you are heading into. The more you know, the more informed your careers and educational decisions. Today, we're going to have an absolutely amazing conversation on the world of special education and building a career in it. We have with us two incredible guests, Sushman Palan, an experienced clinical psychologist, a psychotherapist, a counselor, a special educator, and an NLP therapist. She's also the founder and director of Depth Reaching the Inner Perfection, which is a counseling and remedial center. And we have with us Shamshabad Dhamani, an RCI registered special educator, a mental health therapist, and a counselor with over 20 years of experience in the field. Let's begin by getting to know our panelists for the audience watching this video. Could both of you share a brief introduction of yourselves? Let's start off with Sushma and then move to Shamshabad.
Okay, so myself Sushma, working in the field of remedial education and counseling. I was working in one of the leading schools in Thane for 12 years, and I have my own center in Hiranandani Meadows, Thane, as well as in Amrapali Arcadia in Vasant Vihar. And my mission is to work in this field. So I am all open, as unfiltered as possible, to answer the questions, because I think I and Nikhar have the same passion that more unfiltered information reaches to human, so that people can choose this career if they really are interested into it.
Lovely. Thanks a ton for sharing that, Sushma. Over to you, Shamsha.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Nikhar. And I'm Shamsha in this field since like 2 decades now. And I've worked with schools, NGOs. I've worked with a corporate, while taking mental health sessions. And I have my own private practice going on. And it's a good field. It's a very soulful field to be in, and looking forward to give our best.
Special education is all about teaching in a very different way, and special education is a skill-based program. So it looks like academics, but it is not at all, and not related directly to the academics, but it is related to academics. But special education is a skill-based program. So we are teaching the skills and nuances of skills, understanding the human mind. So basically we are dealing with the abnormal psychology. So it is, I would know, is it right? The word is not very much likable, but it is, we are dealing with the niche of the society, which are those who are unable to pick up with the normal strata. That is what is all about special education. As the name says, it is a special, so the teaching method, learning method, dealing method, everything is very different from the traditional learning.
In isolation, it is pure academics. In isolation, okay. But then, like any other field, I strongly believe I cannot, as a special educator, work in isolation, right? Integration is the key. So yes, it is about not only about academics, but yes, academics, making a customized plan for a kid. Because if you see the mainstream schooling, one curriculum that suits everybody, right? But in our field, we make a curriculum for a child, yeah. So and of course there are many other factors and many other profession we have to involve in planning, and important, if parents are good, cooperative, half the problem is solved, yeah. when I decided to get into this field, there was no awareness at all. So I didn't knew that there is this kind of an option, right? Parents do not know. There are still some, there is a segment still part of our country who are not aware of it, and we have these kind of cases everywhere. Like I don't want to get into statistics. I don't know the correct numbers as of now, like 2022. But then, yeah, the need is there. But then, yes, awareness still very, very low comparatively, And many a times, student in a mainstream school also, there is a lot of need of, special educator when it comes to learning difficulty. I'm not even going to learning disability. Even where there is a difficulty, even there a special educator can and has a role.
I have to directly answer to your question, Nikhar. It is that the backbenchers, those who are unable to match the needs of academics, immediately the role of a special educator comes. So one of the parents came to me and she asked me, my child is not studying, and they gave the long list and they asked me, do such children exist? So I said, when I am existing, they are existing definitely, and that is why you came in search of me. So my door will be open to those who are not able to match the needs of the normal academics, and there is a bunch of students who are unable to cope up. They are not at par and expected level with the other students in the class. So in every class you will find such people. Those who are listening to, immediately the few students will flash in their minds. Maybe they have a behavior issue or emotional issue as well. That also can be covered in the field of special education. So they are showing learning difficulties. As Samsha rightly mentioned, it is not about the disability. They are showing learning difficulties. So they might be having the behavior concerns or maybe the emotional concerns. But that can also be dealt as we enter into this work.
Learning disability is a neurological disorder. Yeah. For a layman for everybody to understand, we have we have neurons. It's like wiring, right? Like all of us, majorly all of our wirings are 90% like similar. Yeah. So that's how one curriculum, and we are all set with that. That's how we did our schooling, right? A curriculum, one teacher, one way of teaching. There's no customization, right? There was no customization when we were in school, like mainstreaming school, right? So coming back to learning disability, it's a neurological disorder. The wiring, the wiring is a problem there. Yeah. People fail to understand and they kind of label lazy hai, misbehave karta hai, they go ahead with the label of ADHD hai, things like that. But then we need to understand there is a wiring issue somewhere up here, okay, very, very laymanishly.
At synaptic junction, at synaptic bypass.
Yes, so that is disability. And when it is difficulty, it's just that, if I have a learning difficulty, I need a little not even a customization, a little improvisation here and there, and I'll just get it. Yeah. Same goes for learning disability as well. Little customization, little improvisation, and, there you go. Again, yeah, we'll definitely come to the part somewhere ahead, but then the ones who have learning difficulty and learning disability, there's nothing wrong with the IQ. Yeah. So intelligence is there. They are intelligent. The level of IQ is good. Like it's normal. Maybe it's above normal. But then it's just the way my teacher's teaching me, I'm not getting it. So the pathways has to be correct. May I also add, if not given a correct kind of stimulus to the child, on a right age, right time, the intensity may increase, or the severity may increase.
I would like to add what Shamsha has said. Above that, I would like to add is that in learning difficulty, there is a performance deficit. So there are two kinds of deficits, skill deficit and performance deficit. When we talk about the disability, there is definitely a skill deficit. I don't have the skills of reading, writing. I don't have the skills of learning. But where in performance deficit, little kind of motivation, or as the Shetke, little kind of shift also can totally change the table turnaround. But when it is a neurological disorder, when it is a disability, you need to have the specific ways to teach the child. So first, as the child comes, we assess, is it a skill deficit or a performance deficit? On basis, if we have the skill deficits, then we go on the disability part more. And if it is a performance deficit, we go on the emotional behavioral part, as the environment, the correct stimulus is not given, as Samsa said. So it may be that also. So that as a special educator, we need to find out what is the major concern. And in disabilities, as it is a neurological at synaptic junction, it is not, as she rightly said, that there is no concern about the IQ, but the information which is processed from eyes and ears to the brain. At synaptic junction, there is a chemical dysfunctioning which is happening. I repeat it again, there is a chemical dysfunctioning happening in the passage. So it's a processing. Eyes and ears are completely normal, brain is completely normal, but the information which is processed in between, it gets disturbed. So the child cannot perceive the information properly, and when the information is not reached the brain properly, it will not come out properly, because I have not got the information properly. So as a special educator, we don't open the brain. But what we do as a special educator, we open the other channels so that the information reaches to the brain properly, and once the information is processed properly, child can give the correct output. So as a special educator, this is the role we play. That at synaptic junction, and with every child, if you go to the brain scanners, so if the ECG and everything is done, it will be the same as the normal child. So there will be no difference. But some at synaptic junction, there is some chemical dysfunctioning that special educator has to find out what is it, and that is where Shamsha said we have to prepare a specific tailor-made program for each child. As we understand what is the dysfunction, where it is happening, and then we teach the child, and child picks up, as there is a new IQ issue. So when you said that there are slow learners, actually to tell you, they are not slow learners. When we talk about the learning disability, their IQ is absolutely normal or above average. So it is not the picking up the problem, it is about the processing disorder. Once the information is processed, the child can pick up, and special educator's job is to process this path for that, so that their intelligence is used properly. So academic journey, I think your career counselors, so BA and B.Ed and M.Ed and all this academic journey is very much guidable. It is a process which anyone can teach you. The main important point is, as she said, you have to have the calling from inside. As Shamsa said, there was a calling when she visited. So there has to be one intense calling, because a job of a special educator is a very the minutest thing to observe and to understand and to change the human mind. Because in front of you, the children who are sitting have a difficulty, but they are much more capable to do so many things. So a special educator has to find out that nuances. So to develop their skills, you have to have that deep passion for the work, and there has to be a calling for within your inside. My son is doing a special education. He is turning a special educator. So there has to be a calling. He found out that his calling is there. So once you have the empathy, right amount of compassion, you have a passion to serve the humanity, academic part can be guided and can be sailed through. That is what I strongly believe.
Can't agree enough to what Sushma has already said. Yes, everything will follow. If you have the passion, if you have the skill set, a little bit of skill set, money, fame, everything will follow. And of course, coming back to the academics of it, we have seen people from different, different avenues joining this platform. Yeah, when I was doing my special education program, we had a wonderful lady who took an early retirement from HSBC Bank, okay, and joined this. Like while I was starting my first career, she switched and started her second. And she's still with a very good school, well-known special school. And so, of course, bachelor's, master's or no master's, there are so many. Bachelor's, yes, definitely bachelor is a minimum requirement. There are many things, there are many platforms, online, offline, via Mumbai University, SNDT University. There's a lot that's happening nowadays. It's just that I need to know where to look for. And so I have always believed in the importance of a mentor, Nikhar. If you, I'm sure you will agree to this. If I have a mentor, if I have somebody to look up to, this is the pathway people are following, and maybe this will help me. Having something a chalk out kind of a thing. Okay, this is plan A, plan B, plan C. If this did not work, maybe this is something that the second best or the third best. Planning and research is important. Of course, psychology is an add-on benefit. Bachelor's, master's in psychology is definitely helped me a lot. Individually, personally, it helped me a lot. One. Number two, you asking what kind of skill set? Yes, it is. If not psychology, okay, coming back to the academics, if not psychology, there's a lot of content that's available if I want to stay updated. A lot of short courses, a lot of certificate courses, everything is available, be it online or offline. If I want to do it, I'll get it done. So yeah, some skill set I'll have it in me, and some I can always anytime inculcate into me.
What she said is absolutely right. I will add on to what she has said is that we need the psychological theories of mind. See, we are understanding the human mind which is very different. So all this education really comes to the suffice, because if you see my session in isolation, you will think you will not understand that each word, each eyeball, expression, everything is absolutely scientifically planned. And the education we get in the schools and colleges about the theories of mind, so that we can connect to the human mind whatever work we are doing. So psychological theories are absolutely utmost important to learn to support the process of teaching. So college and schools education, I think without theory, practical is absolutely of no use. You need to have the theories to support what we are doing. So each word, when I'm talking to a parent, when I'm doing with the child, it's absolutely planned. And one can only understand who has learned the theories behind it. Otherwise, you will feel it's nothing. But when the students come to me, they have done the courses, then only I allow, because then they have the questions. So I tell them that after the session, you can ask me the number of questions you have. So when they ask, they have the theories to support the question. Otherwise, they don't have anything. उनको लगता नहीं बस प्यार से तो पढ़ा रहे और क्या कर रहे. But once you know the theories behind it, it can be an absolute help. So I believe that to learn scientifically the theories of human mind is very, very important to be in this field.
We have with us another very special guest who's also a special educator, Payal Chordia.
Hey, Payal.
For quite some time, who also has her perspective on this question. So Payal, over to you.
So, as I've been with Mentoria as a counselor for the past 1.5 years, and one thing what I would find very interesting when it comes to my counseling sessions with my students is, I strongly agree, is the interest. You should be interested in this field of helping people. Now, also what I found when I look at it from my perspective, I was a commerce student. I went ahead, to do my chartered accountancy, but as I so relate to it, I didn't have the interest. So even after doing it, I left it. Like, I just did not feel like going ahead. My passion was always to teach. So when I started my career as a primary school teacher, a pre-primary school teacher, what I found very exciting, like for me, honestly, it was a challenge. I love to work with that child who has some issue. And at that point of time, I did not know, like, learning difficulties, dyslexia was something which I was not aware of at all. And that's when the movie Tare Zameen Par came into the picture, and it affected me to such an extent that I was now finding my Ishan. So for me, my life became working with Ishan. And I would try and find those Ishans in my students. And as soon as I would get an Ishan, now I want to teach, but I don't know how to do it. Because I know the traditional ways are simply not working. And that's when I would like to share my story, that I came across this institute called the Maharashtra Dyslexia Association, which was a life changer for me. And that's where I met Shamsha. And so basically they offered a language therapy program. Okay, so it's basically very specific to teaching children using a therapy, it's a multi-sensory structured language therapy program, which is an Orton Gillingham based program, and which teaches you how to go about it in a very systematic way. Because I have been in this profession for the past 11 years now, and one thing I know really works is systems when it comes to teaching children with learning issues. So when you have a system in place and you follow that system to the T, automatically it becomes an automatic process for the child. So yes, what I would talk about, I don't know if we have listeners who are interested or are looking at special education as a career for themselves, is yes, a BEd, Masters in Special Education Psychology is all a very, of course, it really add. I lacked all that, honestly. But of course, the willingness to take up a challenge is something that you should have. The interest to work with challenges is something you should think about, if you have that in you. And then find those programs, which are very specific to, like learning disability is too vast. There's autism, okay? There is ADHD, there is dyslexia, there's dyscalculia. So it's nice if you could have do a specialization for specific different disabilities. So if you could get hold of programs like that, like for example, the Maharashtra Dyslexia Association offers you program like that. You have programs on Udemy, you have it on Coursera, like cognitive behavior therapies. I feel it's great to keep adding on those kind of programs in your current set, in your portfolio. So that would be my personal, that's what I do. And that's what those were my small tips for, students who really want to get into this field. Keep updating your knowledge on this field.
Major difference. I will not say like there is a major difference. Yes, there is there are differences. Okay, clinical psychology deals with different kind of cases. And if I'm doing counseling psychology, I will be able to deal with a little mild kind of cases. It will be more, counseling psychology will be more on in the school setup. Clinical psychology can be more apt in the hospital kind of a setup, rehab kind of a setup. Counseling psychology is school, parent-child, workshops on mental health, and of course, and related. Everything related to kids, youth, adult, of course, adult as well, but clinical is more deep, clinical is more intense. Clinical also gives you the hang into testing and diagnosis, which counseling psychology doesn't give you, right? So there is a difference, there is a difference, but then again, as a counseling psychologist, I am not authorized to diagnose, give a diagnosis. But then as a counseling psychologist, I can definitely work on the case. So that's the basic difference between the two.
There are three kind of people in the society: is those who are in the discovery group, other is distress group, and third is disorder. So discovery is those who want to grow in life. Some people, they are there and they want to grow in life. Distress group is they are functional, but they have certain challenges related to the life. life challenges. And disorder is that mental state is absolutely unstable to fit in the society. Now, in counseling, psychologists can work with these two groups, discovery and distress group, very well. They can really do very well with distress and discovery group. But clinical psychologist works with all three groups. And as Shamsha rightly said, that counseling psychologist cannot authorize and diagnose that part, but clinical psychologists can do the diagnosis part also. So that is the difference. So major their work is with these two groups, and clinical psychologist works with all three groups. So this is the major difference between these two. Definitely it is required. RCI registration is very important and it is required. So now in Bombay, we can function without the RCI certification also. But in Delhi and other cities, it is absolutely mandatory. But once you are done from a good college and out, then you get the work. And above all, what I would say is that if the special education work is done absolutely fantastically, people will come in search of you, whether you are certified or not certified. But I'm not denying the importance of it.
Yeah, so it's like how if you want to go to a doctor, you just don't land up, at a clinic. Yeah, you will not just land up at any random clinic and get your checkup done or take medications. You will go to somebody who's tried and tested by someone else, right? So ours is a similar kind of profession, it happens via reference more. Yeah. So yeah, initial stages, it's a little difficult to kind of market yourself and say you're doing good, you know the work, but then once you're there and once you're there, people know you, it becomes a lot easier. RCI certification, yes, it definitely helps. It definitely helps in the kind of our system is such, right? More the certificate, the better it is, right? It is the truth. It's the ugly kind of a truth. But then, RCI certificate, it matters a lot. Once the special ed is done, you apply for it, and within a month, 2 months time, it's at your place.
So first is you can different diagnoses you can work with, and then you can finalize, okay, I want to work with specifically with autism, I'm very good with. So we have to find out the strengths we have. Automatically, once we enter and we are doing the work, we find out, okay, this is the place I belong to. So then you can, as Payal said, then you can fine tune your more skills and upgrade yourself. Then you can do that. Otherwise, if you don't want to do only this, then you can go for art-based therapy, dance movement therapy, there are cognitive therapies, there are language enhancement program, or you can teach NIUS, the academic portion to the special, the NIUS, open schooling ko you can teach as an academician. So then you can be a workshop for the study skills. So then there are so many areas open to you. Once you enter initially, you will try and test yourself where you find yourself. Then you make the specialization in that. So then you can be a play therapist. So especially you can do with the touch mat. So there are different programs when you can enroll. Then find out your niche and accordingly you can go ahead. That you will find yourself in the process. So I am good in ADHD, dealing with ADHD, I am good in autism. It is not. You will find out that this is the special niche I have for myself. Then again you can go for the specialization. This is what I would recommend. Just don't throw yourself to everything. After B.Ed or M.Ed, whatever you do, throw yourself to the work in the field, then automatically you will find yourself, and then you can define that which program specialization you want to go for furthermore. But it is important. But you have to keep on upgrading. If you see Shamsha's profile or my profile, we are constantly learning. But till today, to tell you very frankly, unfiltered, I feel I know so much less about the subject. I still feel it's like I'm just entering in the sea. My feet are just touching the sea. So the field is very, very huge and vast. So you can upgrade yourself as much as you can.
So I can't forget my first day at work. Okay, and it's there, you know, and I'm sure it's not only with special educator, but I'm sure it must be with everybody. How we had so my first job was in Spastic Society, and the initial weeks, days, months are difficult. It's really difficult. There were kids, you know, who were non-verbal. There were kids who wanted me to understand their wants, but then I couldn't get it, right? And I wanted them to understand what I am telling or what I am teaching or what I am trying to communicate, and they wouldn't get it. So it was like a turmoil, you know, both parties, for both the parties, for the kids, for the teacher. But then when you settle down and it has, like, I'm talking about 2004, and I can't forget that kid. I'm sure now that kid must be into something else. But then so the first few years are difficult, but then as you grow into it, it becomes you're settled, right? You're kind of settled, and still there's a lot that you as a special educator in this field take home, you know, take home emotionally. You take a lot emotionally. It's not only you're dealing with academics, there's a lot, you know. So once I asked my faculty, one of my faculty, how to deal with the parent then? You know, I'm making the IAPs, I'm making the curriculum, I'm customizing it according to what I know is the best for the child. But then how do I deal with the parent who's trying to continuously, you know, correct me? You know? So my faculty was like, Acha, what about the child's grandparents? I was like, how do I deal with the grandparents? Then he was like, what about the child's health, you know, house health? I was like, I can't deal with the child's house health. How about the child's pet? I was like, come on, like, what are you talking about? So then he said, you know, you focus on the child. You just purely focus on the child. Everything will fall in place, you know. How much have we grown in the field? But then there are times when the institution will demand something else, the parents demand something else, the plan sometimes works, plan sometimes just doesn't work. How much ever you researched into it, you invested yourself into making a plan. But then in our, I don't know, maybe in all the profession, flexibility has to be there. Plan A, plan B, plan C. We all know that it is very, very important. So yeah, but it's cool. The day in our life is amazing.
So I would say that the first and foremost, my day looks like in the morning I sit with my planner and see that I have to check with every parent, because parents will fly. Today this is there, that is there. So you have to be very consistent, very much grounded as a therapist, because you know what you are doing for their life is very, very important. They will go कि आज ये है, आज वो है. So you have to hold the child along with the parents, because parents are the one who is going to get there to the therapies. Because coming to a therapy center is not easy thing. Matlab, that is the last resort anyone would like to. Matlab, no one enters to our clinic in the happy state. Okay, I want to come and I want to enter. So coming to us is a very much last resort they have it. So once they have come as a last resort, holding them, loving but very kindly is very, very important, because we know what is at the stake is the child's future. We as a special educator can see after 1 year, 2 years, where are we reaching? And if there is an inconsistency in the session, we won't be able to reach the goal. So what I do for myself is I educate the parent in the session and allow the parent to sit. I deal with the emotional distress of the parent, so that a mother or the caregiver who is coming for the session can consistently sustain with the program. So it is very important. So in every session, as Shamsha said rightly, that it is more of a learning than teaching. It's equal. So every child, every parent teaches you and mentors you in a very different way. So we learn one more skills, okay, how better we can do as a special educator. And holding parents, holding the families also plays an equally important role, because as in 3 Idiots it was very well said कि वो बच्चा बाहर आता है कि सबको डॉक्टर इंजीनियर बनाना है, and our child stands nowhere in that. But demands are the same of the parents. Okay, I want, okay, in this 3 sessions, this should be done. So they come with the demands. So setting that demands with them and making them to the reality check is equally important. So has to be very much grounded. So as a special educator, you have to sharpen your skills, be grounded, be consistent. I tell my special educators, okay, they will fly away, you have to stay grounded. You have no space to fly. You have to be centered there, ki main hu hi. Then you can hold the parent wisely. So day is very easy, yet it is very learning experience for you every day.
Initial years, no, there are a lot of insecurities, honestly. Initial years, it's full of insecurity because you do not know what's going to work and what's going to bounce back on you, right? So initial years, yeah, you have to have patience. Patience is the key here. Patience and passion. I think it both work very well for me personally, yeah. So there was a time when I would even doubt, like, am I in a correct profession? Am I doing good to the kid? Yeah. And of course, I had to do intervention with the parent as well, because they are the ones who are, bringing the child. The child's gonna be with us like for few hours in a week. But then rest parent, it's the parent, who will have to agree to what you've planned for the kid. So initial few years, yes, it is difficult, like in any other profession, yeah. Like in any other profession, even this profession, it's difficult. But then if you have passion towards it, if you have patience into it, if you know where to look for, if you're doing your research well, if you have your plans, chalk out everything there with plan A, B, C, D, everything ready with enough flexibility, for the enough room for changes. It gets sorted. Eventually it gets sorted. And once you're grown into it, you okay, I'm gonna rock it. I'm gonna do well. I know I'm going good. When I see the child, so if I can share, there is one 13-year-old autistic kid I have, who's into software. 13-year-old autistic with autism, software, as in he is already into apps, he's already making apps, So for me, to gain the trust from the child, from the parent, there's a lot, that we kind of ask from the parent and the child. You trust me, and then I'll show you the path, and we'll together walk on that path, and we'll sail through. So the initial 2-3 years, and then it's all set.
So as you rightly asked, as the years grow, the responsibility is definitely, and I visioned it. So initial years was like that, okay, I have to do good in the session. I have to make the difference in the child life. Initial year was that struggle. After 5 years, I understood that it's not sufficing. So I have to expand myself in my horizon. So I immediately turned off to that. How can I create more such educators? I can make more clones, because the demand and ratio supply is definitely there is a huge gap. So there is a huge demand for this. So I started empowering women and started creating more, because nurturance is by default women's forte. Men also play their role, but so creating more educators, and through women empowerment, I started conducting courses to train special educators. And that is where you can see yourself. So more clones are created and more special educators are working. So this is a vision mission I have kept it, that along with I am doing, because how much in a day I can cater to a child, because it's a one-to-one. Okay, so when I'm creating more clones, so in my center there are so many therapists who are working with the child. So you can keep it as a vision mission to expand it and create more awareness about this profession and empower women as well. I have taken that as also as a goal.
Got it. So what I understand is that the general growth trajectory in this role is only from an individual contributor to train the trainer. right? Where you train more people as special educators so that
Yes.
they can start contributing to society.
Or you can open the school also. Matlab, you can open your own center or your own organizer. One of my colleagues, Manjushri, they have opened the schools. So that can also be possible. So that there is definitely a hierarchy.
The impression or the impression that everybody has is once you complete the special education and you join a school, but there is a lot. There are a lot of parents who are into homeschooling. With these kind of population, there are a lot of parents who are into homeschooling, planning a curriculum with the parents, making content for them, helping them in homeschooling. There is a lot that can happen. What do you say? Contemporarily, there's a lot that one can do. So not only school, but then there is private practice. Of course, that's one avenue, and working on content. That's one area where people do not divert themselves into. So that's an area where there's a lot of space to explore. That is one avenue that people can explore.
I would say ki along with that, you can also, because the field of education is very, very vast. So in the B.Ed and M.Ed colleges, the institution comes and you will immediately get the job. So then you for at least 2 years, I recommend every educator to work under someone, under some organization or some institution. Find out your niche, specialize yourself, and then define your further journey. But first 2 years, because after the theories, all the knowledge is very, very raw. It is not used in the practicality. And once we use it in the practicality under someone's guidance, your skills are sharpened. But when I conduct the courses, so many B.Ed specialists come to me and they learn the specialized skills, because the theory part is covered, which is very, very important. It is indispensable. But at the same time, doing the practical work under someone. So the senior therapist or the one who you are working under, they will teach you so many aspects of the same work. So it's not about educating the child. It's about handling parents. It's about doing the assessment. It is about generating the report, because our reports are sent to the hospitals. And the margin for that is zero. Margin for error is zero for that. So you need to get that training under someone. Then you can define and decide the academic further path. But I think a good educator can never sit empty. That is for sure. Because as I said, the demand and supply ratio is very, very different. The demand is very, very huge and supply is very, very less. So getting a job and working is absolutely easy, because the field of education itself is very, very vast. Yeah, definitely the skill set to deal with a very young population, teenager, young adults, is very, very different. So for example, if a very young child comes to me, my main focus will be teaching the skills. That will be the ultimate focus, because the child does not have developed any aversion against the education, any aversion against the society. Because when the child is not learning at par with others, there are the emotional disturbances happen, because they are cornered, they are bullied, they are name calling happens. So there are stressors, they come from the environment to them. But when the child is absolutely young, they are just like a small plant. You can you can develop the skills and your work is done. But when a teenager comes, all this hardwiring, that cornering, bullying, name calling, you are a special child, they are labeled. So all this has happened. So we, as a special educator, we have to deal with that part as well. Because you are in the regular context. The child is not going to the clinical psychologist or a counseling psychologist daily, regularly. But child is coming to a special educator. The special educator then has to change the role from teaching the skills to dealing with the emotional issues, the social questions they come. So many children come and ask, okay, they are cornering me, what should I do? So all this emotional and behavioral aspect has to be covered when we are dealing with the adult group. So definitely the niche is different.
So like how we are saying, I need to know what works better for me, like, in terms of what kind of population I want to work with. I want to specialize and work with learning disability. I want to work with autism. I want to work with what? Okay. Similarly here as well, if I know my population, if I know, okay, I am very good with younger kids, or if I'm very good with teenagers, if I'm very good with parents, if I know what I am good at and what works best for me, that's the game, I guess. Yeah. And then to me personally, I love to work with teenagers. I love to work with small kids. But yeah, you kind of change when you are with a toddler, or when you are with a first grader. You're completely different. You're like you come to their wavelength, and you keep switching. You keep switching your wavelength to match with their wavelength, because it is very different when you're working with a toddler or a first grader or a second grader, when you're working with a teenager, when you're working with their parents, when you're working with, adults. It's all, I can't be, I can't be the same professional, on a professional level. I can't be the same, I'll have to keep switching. So, yeah.
First of all, the initial salary in renowned organization will start somewhere between 40 to 50. That will be the initial year's salary would be. And as you grow in the profession, you can take personal session. The charges per session somewhere range between 600 to 1200 per session. It ranges from between that. And as much as you want to work and as much as one person can do, they can earn. The scope is very high, but initiation and sustenance, there is not much gap, I would say. There is a gap. So as in corporate ladder, I'm earning and the income level changes in the lakhs. That is not going to happen. This is not one profession which is very lucrative in the financial part. It is not very lucrative. I'm being very, very frank. Your initiation will be this, but it will not grow in lakhs as you grow with the experience. It will not. Basically, as we are constantly saying, it's a work of a vision, mission, passion, and your inclination towards this work. So if it is just a financial graph, if you are looking at it, it is not very lucrative option. As of now, I'm working in this field from last 22 years, and I would say it is not very lucrative, but a good educator can sustain and lead a very comfortable, happy, normal life. That is for sure.
My suggestion will be, not to get greedy ekdam, in the initial years. Go easy. So I can of course I can if I'm graduating, and I can aram se go to a very renowned school and start earning 40. But if I as I was saying, importance of a mentor is very, very important. Importance of planning is very, very important. Importance of having a vision where and how I want to start my career. What do I want to learn first, or is it the money first? So if I learn first and I take it easy. So my job, I used to stay in Dombivli and would travel to Colaba, and the travel time would take like 2 hours. But then that years, those years, my first job taught me a lot. Money wise, it was nothing. I would put extra from my pocket just to travel and get sorted. But I've learned a lot. So take it easy in the beginning, initial years. Learn a lot. Because these are the years, after graduation is the year when you can discover, you can explore, you can learn, you can make mistakes, you can do trial and errors, you can identify what works well with you. You want to work in a mainstream school, you want to work in a special ed school, or you want to work with people there are schools only for learning disability, So get to know, that's my suggestion, get into it, explore everything, and then decide where you want to settle. Money will follow. Yeah, first few years will be a struggle, but then once you're there, people know you, people know your worth. How you market yourself will matter later. that will happen a little later, a little patience, and it will all happen. Working with school, NGOs, taking corporate sessions. You will not believe, there is one case I like to share. I got one reference from a UAE thing, So there was a UAE parent who wanted to do a remediation for the child, and they were originally from Jordan. And the child do not know English. Okay, the child doesn't know English, and I was like, how am I gonna do that? So the mother said, I will sit with the child, but then you teach me how to teach the child, and that's how we did like 5-6 sessions. And that was more with the parent. Then for the child, it was more for the parent to give her a hand. Ki, Acha, these are the 10 things that you can do. She would record, she would send it to me, And so sky is the limit. Sky is the limit, there's no limit, there's no such thing कि बस इतना ही कमा सकोगे, इसके ऊपर तो आप जा ही नहीं सकते, ऐसा नहीं है. Yeah, this is not a corporate world, that's for sure. Like Sushma said, I completely agree to this. This is not a corporate world, but then commercially you can earn.
So one thing I would like to let everyone know, that this is an absolute service industry. So the day you work, you earn. The day you don't work, you don't earn. So that is one thing that you have to keep in mind when you are in this industry. It's not like the other places, agar kaam chal raha hai, to you are earning even if you're not there. You have to be physically there every moment. So you're basically earning by the minute. Now that earning by the minute can go to 50 rupees a minute, to 100 rupees a minute, or 200 rupees a minute. So it completely depends on that. So you have to make sure that you're completely hands-on to make sure that you're making a buck. So ultimately, it depends upon your individuality. How much of an entrepreneurship do you have in you? But one thing I would like to inform everyone is that maybe Indian market right now is not very, we are just opening up to this whole thing of accepting, the population which are neurologically different from us. The parents have, even though the child is tested, the acceptance is very, very slow. So it's not very, people are not ready to openly accept and spend money on it. But when we look at the international platform, like I have a lot of clients from I have clients from Ireland, Singapore, and even Seychelles. And these are, so if you can hit on those markets, because that's where for them, for example, in UK, to get a special education, the parents have to go through a lot, because they do get it at a very subsidized rate, but then you need a lot of certifications and a lot of sanctions, to get that education. So if you are able to connect with those kind of parents, then that's the place where, when you look at making the buck, you make your buck there. And that's going to happen only on the online platform. So you should be ready to work odd hours to get that buck.
Challenges, yes. Like I said, being in the field for these many years, we kind of know now how to deal with the challenges. But then yes, definitely there will be a lot of challenges, because you will make a plan and everybody around you will want to change it. So that's the challenge number one, right? And trust from the child, because the parent is taking the child everywhere. Chalo, isko inke paas bhi le jate, inke paas bhi. Let me try person A, B, C, profession A, B, C. The child is kind of tired, and the child is, doesn't have the hope. Yeah. For them to gain the trust, ki acha, this person's gonna stay with me. This person's gonna understand me. This person's gonna not judge me, label me, but help me move ahead in my life, is the biggest challenge. For both the parties, for the child, for the for the individual, and for the professional. So that's one challenge. Very emotionally, it's an emotional turmoil both the ways. You're trying to do your best as a special educator. You're making the best of best plan for the kid, for the individual. But then once the trust is built and the child knows, ki acha, this is my person, and this person will sail together with me. Once the parent know ki acha, बस पार कर ही लेंगे हम, then it's kind of war one kind of a situation.
My biggest challenge, I feel, that is inability to do the self-work, because a special educator requires to do so much of self-work. I always tell my educators that whatever is your block will come in front of you. So if you are not doing the self-work regularly, you are not taking the sessions regularly for yourself, and you are not sitting with yourself, special education is not possible. Because to tell you very frankly, every moment is a challenge. Talking to parents, dealing with the child who has all the difficulties, because our doors are open when all the other doors are closed. I'm very frankly telling you that they come to us, as Payal said, that there is a slow awakening about this work. So they come to us, so then they are very demanding. So if the special educator has not done the self-work enough on herself, she will be taken away with the needs of the parents, she will be taken away with the challenges that the child is facing, she will be taken away with the challenge the school is putting on them. So there are many pressures. If you are working under any organization, the school is putting the pressure. Okay, child is not functioning normally, but the child has abnormalities. You cannot tell upfront that. You cannot talk about the disability upfront. So if I say the child is learning disabled, I will be screwed from my fraternity. I'm not allowed to say so many things. How much ever I understand, I cannot say so. So there is a demand from the school because they don't understand anything about abnormal psychology. Parents who do not understand anything about this, they have just seen the child having difficulties. The child has his own challenges from the surrounding. So the special educator is constantly attacked from all the directions. So if the special educator is not doing the self-work, she cannot sustain this amount of pressure from everyone. So I regularly take my special educator session, their counseling, to deal with their own challenges, then only, because your vibration matches the vibration of the client. So if you are panic, if you are getting anxious, automatically they will also be anxious, and they are already. So you don't have to match them. So that is the biggest challenge. If special educator is doing the self-work, she can without flawlessly deal with all the challenges they come in the way. We take the autistic children, ADHD, they are constantly running and jumping. Autistic children, one of my child who was constantly spitting, he will spit on my face. And we are all the adult group, he would press my nipple and anything on my body he would attack. And he will do anything. And we are not allowed to do anything. As a special educator, we are not allowed to give it back or to do anything. So taking in initial years is definitely a challenge, because they do not sit at one place. One child, was constantly pinching me. So my whole hand was red for 6 months, because he will come, he will just smile and he will pinch me. He will just come, smile and pinch me. 1 hour he will do that only. So managing those all behaviors, tantrums, that is definitely a skill set which is required to do so. So challenges, and they show abnormal behaviors like anything, and they give it to you what the world has given to them. So yesterday I was sitting with one child and he was writing B and D ulta. So I just showed him B is Dali and D is Dump, and I was doing it, and he understood, but he did not agree. He said, no, what I am saying is only right. This is what you have to believe, and he crossed. So I understood that world is giving him rules and regulation, and he does not want to take it. I immediately sat with her mother and I said, so do you give too many rules to the child? So you are supposed to do this, So his mother said, yes. I'm constantly giving him rules. He is opening the tap and he is running around the whole house. I need to correct it. So I give the rule, and he always tells me that you are not right and I'm right. So from just B and D, I went into the child life and I understood where is the stubborn behavior coming from. And I had to change that and give the strategies to deal with that. So all the behaviors, as I always say, that whatever the challenge child is facing in his life, in that 45 minutes, it will come out for sure. And as a special educator, you need to have that ability to deal with those behaviors and deal with the parents and teach the techniques to the parents as well.
said it's like far more challenging, it's far more fulfilling as well. Far more fulfilling. It gives a immense kind of satisfaction with the kind of with the kind of love we get. We not only give love, but then we get in multiple full times,
and in the purest form, hai na, Shamsha? In the purest form.
Oh my God, amazing. So like how Sushma said, the child would pinch. My first, when in a class, there was this child with ADHD plus non-verbal, he would bite. Poor kid, he would bite, and we, both of us, took like a 15 days, to get settled with each other. Yeah, and every day I would cry, go home, and I like, where have I, put myself into? But then after that, even the hugs, even when they are trying to hug and when they are trying to love you and they want to share that I trust you, would also be very difficult for them. There's a lot of insecurity they are going through. There's a lot of fear. There's a fear of getting labeled, getting judged on a daily basis. I had one case. The mother would come to me in the afternoon times when everybody in the family is taking a nap, and nobody would know. So हम 2:30 बजे घर से निकलेंगे, 4 बजे 4:30 बजे हम घर पहुंच जाएंगे. By the time everybody is sleeping. So that's the taboo. Even now we are going through, So there's a lot. Yeah, it's challenging, but then it's very, very fulfilling to some other level.
I would like to add that as she said that there is a taboo. So when I go to a social places and I do not smile initially because people are resisting to acknowledge that they know you. So one parent came to me from the side, I have not told my family, so I will not talk to you. So when nowadays when I go out, I don't exchange the smile initially. If they are acknowledging me, then only I acknowledge. So you have to take that resistance also from the society, because counselor या therapist को जानती है, मतलब उसको जाना पड़ा होगा ना. So that is the thought in the society. So that resistance also you will have to take as a special educator. I would say one who wants to do something for the humanity can go for this profession, and there is so much to learn, so much to deal, and so much to be in this profession. My son, he has chosen special education as a field, so you can understand how much I recommend this as a field, as a future career option. So I think one must, since I'm into this 22 years and you're seeing me healthy hearty, so it is possible and one can go for it. I would strongly recommend to take it as a career option.
Quite a few. Number one, LinkedIn is the platform, okay, for everybody here. If you're not on LinkedIn, have an account, do a lot of research work can happen, what's happening in the contemporary world. Across the globe, you get to know, who's doing what, you get to know. There is one gentleman somewhere in Australia or Germany, he does a story time, right? Like the COVID started and everything was online. He would do story time 7:30 sharp, his time, or I don't know what time zone. But then 7:30 p.m. he would do the story time, and everybody across the globe would join him, So LinkedIn is one place, like how we are on Insta and Facebooks, and we know who's doing what, This is more enlightening, LinkedIn is enlightening if you do it, if you know where to look for, if you know how to do your research. Again, if you're new in the profession, one is LinkedIn. Number two, research via LinkedIn, without LinkedIn. I look out for my workshop stuff a lot from Pinterest. Okay, everything, kind of a lot of things. I take stuff from Insta also. I take stuff from Pinterest also. So research, very, very important. There's so much available. I don't have to sit down and make everything. There are worksheets available, there are plans available, there are schedules available, there's everything available, right? You just need to find it. You just need to find it properly. Look out for things properly. Research, number 2. Number 3, planning is very, very important. Having a plan A, B, C, D, room for flexibility, very, very important. Don't go, आज यही सिखाना है, आज यही पढ़ाना है. You know, the child may not be, or any individual may not be in the mood to do what you have planned, right? So be flexible enough, but have your planning in place. That's number 3. Number 4, take your time out. Chill out a little, because it's emotionally, there is a lot that we are taking, you know, there's a lot of take home. Yeah, so take your time out, plan your weekends properly, have fun. That's number 4. And my last advice, my last piece of suggestion is have a mentor in life, you know. Very, very important. And you will not even know how helpful it can become in your life. A lot of my mentors have given me a lot of help, a lot of suggestions, a lot of cases, you know, for that matter. So this is it from my end. Thank you.
Yes, I completely, would like to, what Shamsha just said, have a mentor in your life and, keep getting your inputs, sharing what you have with your mentor. When it comes to the demand for people like us, I think there's going to be a drastic, of course, being it a service industry, so you can only do as much as you can, but you can do much more. Like, there is going to be a big demand for you, especially because, one, in India, the awareness is increasing. There are more and more people. I'm seeing this over a period of 10 years. The demand, people acknowledging, accepting individuals who are different from us. There has been a very positive change coming up there. And the second thing is COVID-19, So we really don't know what COVID-19 is, we are almost at the fag end of COVID-19, but what these 2.5-3 years have done to individuals on a personal level is something which we really don't know. And what research tells us is that, yes, there is going to be a big, there is going to be an upsurge in people having more psychological and mental issues because of the impact they had in their childhood. So when these kids who are like 4 years old now, 10 years down the line, when they are 9, 10 or 12 years old, there is a very huge chance of them having a much more bigger psychological impact due to COVID, and that's when we as special educators and psychologists will have to come into the picture. So yes, I feel there is a big demand coming up in the next 10 years. So guys, just go for it.
Demand has already increased because I can see it is in my center, because so there are not more disabilities. Difficulties are coming out because 2 years online teaching, so many children have not learned the skills. And the schools are expecting that normalcy. So already the demand has started increasing because of COVID-19. So these 2 years, so what we call in our language is that pseudo need is created. We are generating no neurological disorders. Difficulties are more seen because of this 2 years of pandemic. So demand is for sure going to increase. Anyway, right now also we are not matching the ratio. Right now also we are not matching the ratio. So the demand is huge. That is for sure.
Got it. Fabulous. Thanks a ton for sharing all of this very, very insightful information, Sushma and Shamsha. Now over to the audience. We do have one question from somebody, Ritesh Vishnu. He says, I want to know how to manage students in the class because I face many problems in managing children in class. The reason is I usually give home tuition to children, and managing an individual person is easy, but what do I do to work on a group of kids?
So what age are we talking about? I would really want to know what age. So accordingly, yes, it is challenging. Having a class full of kids, or even if it's like a 10 bunch full of them, it is difficult. But yeah, keeping them engaged into something is very, very important. There are times, we just need to know, I need to know my child. I need to know my children. I need to know my students. I need to know my population, okay? It will take some time, but then if I know, if there is a person, if there is a child who's coming with an extra energy, bundle full of energy, बहुत energy है बच्चे में, तो what will I do? I'll make the child do some jumping jack or run or put some running race, for like those kids, 3 to 4, 5 of them, or maybe I will put a song, I'll let them dance for like 2-3 minutes, or I'll put some meditation kind of a music, soothing music, close your eyes, calm down, you know. I will need to know what will work for my population. Accordingly, I will use a strategy. I may not put a meditation music for everybody and all the time. It may not work, okay? I may not ask them to do the running race all the time. So I need to know what is the age group, what the child requires, if it's extra energy or if there's no energy. And accordingly, I'll use the activity to engage the child.
Sushma, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah. Any age group, if the class of 10 or 15 or 20 children, there will be one leader. Okay. So pick up the leader who is doing this and ask so if I am jumping or if I am shouting, any disrespectful behavior I am doing, that the intention is good. So if I am scratching my head, it is a not acceptable behavior. But there is an itching. So if I go to the intention, if we check on the behavior, it is a negative behavior. But if we just check on the intention cannot be negative. So if in the group of children, if I get that intention, so when the children are doing mischief, so I said, what you will get after that? So they say, we will feel happy. So I said, okay, so you want to feel happy? There are ways to be happy in other ways. There are right ways to get the happiness. So do not check with the behaviors, go to the intentions. Even if the substance abuse. When the client comes to me and they say, okay, there is a substance abuse. So I say, okay, so the behavior is wrong, but the intention is right. So if you go to the intention, so after doing this behavior in the class, what you will get? So they will say, I will get joy, will get excitement. Okay, so there are the right ways to get the excitement. We all will do together. And you see the change. It will be a magic and you will see the change. Because they will feel, okay, my teacher is also ready to meet my intention. That I want to be happy and joyous. And the kids will be on your side automatically.
Super, thanks a ton for sharing that, Sushma and Shamsha. Our next question is, since I haven't graduated in this field, how long will it take me to get an RCI certification and find a job as a special educator?
So if the person who has done the normal degree, BA, BCom, BSc, whichever degree they have to go for the entrance exam for this special education. So there is an entrance exam. Once you get that CET done, then you get the admission in the college for the special education and the 2 years course is there. Then you will be BA and then you can go for MEd or you can look for the job. Anything is possible. So with any stream, you can go for this profession.
So also our RCI certification requires a lot of documentation to be uploaded. Okay, there's a lot, I have tried like 3 times and I was successful like for the 4th time, there's a lot. So look for somebody who knows this technical part well. So there is, a little comfort there, But then once you've uploaded everything properly, you've made your login ID to the RCI website, uploaded all your 10, 12, your Aadhaar card, everything properly. It doesn't take a lot of time. It will come.
And if you're attached to the college, it will be done with the school college only. Yeah, it will be done through college only.
I see a question that's come in. How is technology impacting or enabling special education as a sector?
Yeah, I think it's really very supportive. Now the technology is really supportive in special education. So there is no doubt about it. One of the guys last week, he called me that he is doing research on using all these technologies for the special education. And I said it's most welcoming. It's really welcoming because audio-visual medium is really powerful. And if we can use it wisely, we are using it all the time. We are using the gadgets to teach nowadays. So it's really very good, but it has to use in a specific manner so that it uplifts the child. And anything, any gadget or any technology, if it is not used wisely, it has a negative impact, which goes without saying for any gaming or anything. But if you use it wisely, I think it needs to be used more. That is for sure.
Super. Thanks. Appreciate that. We've got Ritesh Vishnu who wants to ask another question. I'm going to unmute him. Ritesh, over to you. Okay, do you want to still ask the question, Ritesh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, over to you.
Good afternoon. Very good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to all of you. सर मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि एक्चुअली जैसे अभी मैं अभी ग्रेजुएशन परस्यू कर रहा हूँ, तो मैं लगभग अभी 4 साल से घर पे होम ट्यूशन प्रोवाइड करा रहा हूँ बच्चों को। और करंटली अभी 2-3 महीने ही पहले भी मैंने श्री राम अकेडमी ज्वाइन किया है, मतलब टीचिंग के लिए स्कूल को ज्वाइन किया। तो उससे पहले मेरे साथ होता ये है कि मैं बच्चे को पढ़ाता हूँ और मैं पूरा अपना 100% देता हूँ उस बच्चे को। तो होता यह है कुछ बच्चे जो हैं वो अच्छा कर जाते हैं और कुछ बच्चे जो हैं वो थोड़ा नीचे रह जाते हैं, थोड़ा पीछे रह जाते हैं, और जिसकी वजह से पेरेंट्स जो होते हैं वो शिकायत भी करते हैं, सर मार्क्स कम आ गए, ऐसा क्यों हुआ। तो एक्चुअली मैं कभी कभी थोड़ा डिप्रेस्ड हो जाता हूँ कि मैंने इतनी सारी मेहनत करी और फिर भी ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है कि अदर बच्चे ला रहे हैं और ये बच्चा नहीं आ रहा। तो मैं कभी कभी इतना ज़्यादा सोचने लगता हूँ उसके बारे में कि मैं फिर उसको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा टाइम दूंगा। कभी 1 घंटे पढ़ाता हूँ तो उसको 2 घंटे दूंगा। तो क्या ऐसा इसके लिए कोई मतलब क्या करना चाहिए?
Thanks for your question, Ritesh.
So, अब आप कितने बच्चे एक साथ में ले रहे हैं? आप 1-to-1 कर रहे हैं कि आप ग्रुप ट्यूशन ले रहे हैं? Okay, that is one thing मैं जानना चाहूँगी। नंबर 2, जो इंटरनल मोटिवेशन है ना रितेश, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है और चैलेंजेस आते रहेंगे। ओके, आपको चैलेंजेस लाइफ में आते रहेंगे, बी इट स्पेशल एजुकेशन का, आप अगर रेमेडियल ट्यूशन ले रहे हो, आप रेमेडिएशन कर रहे हो या ट्यूशन ले रहे हो, तो चैलेंजेस आपको आते रहेंगे। आप ये मेक श्योर करिए कि आपका प्लानिंग ठीक है। ओके, प्लान ए अगर आपका, मैंने जैसे पहले भी बताया, प्लान ए अगर आपका वर्क आउट नहीं कर रहा है फॉर सम रीजन, देयर कुड बी बहुत फैक्टर्स है अफेक्टिंग द प्लान्स, राइट। मुझे सिखाना है बट देन बारिश हो रही है जोर की और बच्चे का मन नहीं है पढ़ने का, बच्चे का मूड नहीं है, बच्चा ठीक से सोया नहीं है, देयर कुड बी 100 रीजन। मम्मी ने रास्ते में आते आते डांट दिया। टू नो व्हाट इज द रीजन and to have my plan B ready always helps. Okay, ये मेरी तरफ से तैयारी होगी। This is the तैयारी वाला पार्ट। अभी मोटिवेटेड कैसे रहना है, क्योंकि ये तो होते रहेगा, लोग आपको बताते रहेंगे कि आप ठीक से नहीं कर रहे हो, आप ये ठीक कीजिए, वो ठीक कीजिए, it will happen, but if you are sure of what you are doing is correct, things will fall in place. आप don't lose on to the hope के, don't lose on to the motivation. कहाँ से हमको मोटिवेशन मिलेगा? Where do I find my personal motivation? Also something that I need to know. Okay? मुझे मेरा मोटिवेशन कहाँ से मिल रहा है? बच्चों को देख के मुझे मोटिवेशन मिल रहा है, वीडियो देख के, कोई पिक्चर देख के चलो मैं थोड़ा फ्रेश हो जा रही हूँ, मुझे मोटिवेशन मिल रहा है, उस तरह की मूवी देख के, अच्छा खा के मुझे मोटिवेशन मिल रहा है, अप्रिसिएशन से मुझे मोटिवेशन मिल रहा है। वेयर एम आई गेटिंग माई मोटिवेशन? मेरा मोटिवेशन क्या है और मुझे मोटिवेशन किस चीज से मिल रहा है? अगर आपको ये पता चल जाएगा तो लाइफ हमारी इजी हो जाएगी। यस,
Super, thanks for sharing that, Shamsha. I think we'll move to the next question. We have 2 more. So Mariam has asked, can you please suggest some best institutes to pursue special education in Mumbai? Any recommendations, Shamsha and Sushman?
SIES है, Shamshabad Dhamani है. These are both the colleges who support who have the courses for the special education.
There's SNDT. There are a lot. You Google it, your place. SNDT is good. Shamshabad Dhamani is good.
SNDT है, Shamshabad Dhamani.
They're all good.
So it says, how important is it to connect the topic with our daily life? Does it help to make students learn easily with fun and better understanding? I actually didn't fully understand this question. I don't know if Shamsha, you or Sushma understood it.
What she is asking is that it is very important. Is it important to connect the topic with the day-to-day life and fun and entertainment? I think it's completely okay. I think we need to do that. We recommend, in my recommendation I put it that knit it into the daily fabric of life. So whenever concepts are taught with the daily fabric of life, it is easy to understand, and anything attached to fun and entertainment, it goes easily. So definitely you need to do that.
Super. I hope that answers your question.
May I, Nikar?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of my home remediation, the parent always say, बच्चा ना ध्यान ही नहीं दे रहा है, my child doesn't pay attention, my child doesn't sit to study, okay? एंड आपके पास भी ये प्रॉब्लम है क्या? एंड आई से नहीं, मुझे तो ये प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बिकॉज हियर इट्स ऑल फन. Yeah, so fun is important factor. Okay, forget the child. I will not learn if there is no fun. I will not learn personally. I will not learn if it's only the lecture mode. I will not learn and switch it off there. Okay, I भी मुझे बिठा दो, but then I will not. वो जाएगा ही नहीं ना. I will not process. I will not register anything if there is no fun. So fun, yeah, very important factor into learning. Also, always keep in mind कि एजेंडा तो सेम ही है, हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव तो सेम ही है ना. बच्चे को पढ़ा, स्पेशल एजुकेशन इट्स एकेडमिक, राइट? हमको बच्चे को पढ़ाना है, वही पढ़ाना है जो बाकी बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं, बट देन कैसे पढ़ाना है, इट इज दैट्स द ओनली डिफरेंस, हाउ आई एम डूइंग इट. It's not a challenge to the child, but it's a challenge to me. So the more fun I make, the better the learning will happen.
Super. If there are no questions, I think we can come to a conclusion, in context of this webinar. Thank you so much, Sushma and Shamsha, for taking the time out and sharing these incredible insights. I'm sure that any person wanting to build a career in special education will get a lot of value after listening to your experiences and your thoughts. To the entire audience watching Career Talks with Mentoria or Career Podcast with Mentoria, thank you so much for taking the time out. We hope we've been able to give you a much more deeper understanding of building a career as a special educator. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to Mentoria's career helpline and we'll try and answer them one by one, or visit www.mentoria.com.